Greetings, creeps, and welcome to HorrorGirl Problems, the podcast/videocast. Thanks for listening, Mom. Now, you may think because Halloween has come and gone that the horrors are over. That is simply not so. In reality, Halloween just signifies the horrors are just beginning. While Halloween may be the highest of holidays, when it leaves, it doesn't mean the spookiness goes with it. In fact, Halloween ushers in a season of spooky as we enter into our darkest time of the year. Don't be fooled by the Yuletide cheer. There's still plenty of horrors to be had. And that brings us to today's very special treat. Author Jeff C. Carter is gifting us all this season with the existence of We Bleed Red and Green, a collection of 12 holiday horrors. And I'm about to give you a sneak peek into the collection with the first story from We Bleed Red and Green, Candy Cane. So grab a glass of nog or a mug of cocoa and raise a toast to holiday cheer as we dive into a tale of holiday fear, Candy Cane. That's thick. You guys see I'm dressed like the candy cane? Here we go. Candy Cane by Jeff C. Carter. Magnolia sat on her stump at the edge of the school playground. She tucked her chin into her puffy pink jacket and dragged a candy cane across the blacktop, laying down a sugary white line. A group of foraging ants crawled over to investigate. "Merry Christmas," she whispered. Boots crunched on dead leaves until she was surrounded. They were Ugg boots, new and trendy, each costing more than Magnolia's entire outfit. She was lanky, tall for 15, but her purple sparkle shirt and rainbow-patched jeans stood in stark contrast to their fashionable black leggings. "Hey, Magnobuddy, sitting with your friends?" Laughter swirled around her like winter wind. "Is it true you still believe in Santa?" "She does," another girl giggled. She told Lisa at Brittany's sleepover. Magnolia said nothing, eyes fixed on the feeding ants. "Well, do you believe in Santa or not?" Her cheeks burned red, and she shrugged, sinking deeper into her jacket. "Say it. Say Santa isn't real." The candy cane snapped against the ground, shattering into a red hook. "I won't." The girls clapped their gloved hands and cackled. "Oh my God, that's so adorable. I cannot wait to tell everybody. Before we go, do you still believe in unicorns? Or the tooth fairy?" The clique skipped off chanting "Santa baby" as they hurried to spread fresh rumors and humiliation. Their voices were erased by a grinding breath that carried an animal stench. It was not the wet hay smell of the petting zoo. It was the dank reek of sunless forest, moss-stained hide, and old rot, mingled with a bitter perfume of smoke and iron. Magnolia kept her eyes down, as she always did. A spider crept from a crevice, eyes glinting green and black as it watched the ants. The beast's furnace breath broke with a snort that probed the air like a question. Magnolia answered quietly, "Naughty." Talons clacked and chains jangled as the creature withdrew in pursuit of its prey. Magnolia watched the spider slink away with its first ant, bound up and ready to eat. "Merry Christmas," she whispered. "Eat those bitches! Eat those Ugg-wearing, legging-sporting bitches!" Don't ever say he's not real. All I want for Christmas is a pet Krampus. All right, I hope you all enjoyed that. Now let's have a chat with the man, the myth, the legend himself, author Jeff C. Carter.
Jeff, hello.
Hey, Angel, how's it going?
Good. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
I am loving this festive outfit and decor you have going on.
I tried. I'm rocking my werewolf for you.
Oh, hell yes. I appreciate that. And I'm rocking my closest to a candy cane that I've got for you. This is the most color I have in my wardrobe.
Yeah, this is the most color I have in my wardrobe.
Nice. What do you have there, nog?
Oh, no. I kind of overdid it on nog yesterday. I got a nog cream puff with a nog shake.
Oh, okay.
It was awesome. And I've been making myself eggnog lattes at home. But no, I thought before I record, nog is maybe not the best.
You're a little nogged out, and then now you're a little nog cautious.
Yes, I'm nog shy, but I'll get back on the nog. As soon as we record, I'll have some nog.
I was going to say, as soon as we end this, you're going to be chugging the nog.
Right. And actually, we can go out on a shot of me with a gallon of nog just going at it.
I'm really excited to have you. You did your Halloween anthology, and I wanted to have you on for that. You had all these amazing short stories, and we just didn't get to it. So I'm really happy that you did a holiday horror anthology, so we could have you on for this.
Yes, I'm glad I did too, and thanks for checking them both out. I really appreciate it.
I was actually talking about one of your stories today. Actually, it was the foreword that I love the foreword to We Bleed Red and Green. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
We Bleed Red and Green. Yeah. I love the foreword to it. And the best I could describe it, I was telling somebody, I was like, his prose just flows. Like as I'm reading it, I feel like it's just this beautiful kind of like rhythm to it. And that was just the foreword. That wasn't even the stories that I was talking about.
Thanks. I work really hard on the forewords. Like summaries are, death for any writer trying to like summarize their stories or their books. But this is only like my 5th book. And so writing forwards is kind of new to me. And I think it's a good opportunity to kind of get in there and kind of make an opening statement and set a mood.
Nice. It's perfect for that, because as soon as I read that, I'm like, yes. And then I'm drawn in and I want to like consume and just devour this book in one sitting. So well done. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, this one's pretty short. You probably could do it in one sitting.
Yeah. So I'm very curious. When did you get the idea for this project?
I have been interested in the horror potential of Christmas for a long time. My dog just came back to say hello.
Oh, hello.
Hey, pup. And, you'll know from reading the foreword that, horror and Christmas are kind of not only linked, but, I think the terror of the season predates Christmas as we know it. The wintertime has always been a pretty grim, dark time full of ghost stories and prophecy and rituals and pagan rites. And so, I've been really interested in that aspect of Christmas. And my friends and I have been writing horror stories for Christmas for a few year. So I already had a couple in the bag, as it were. And after I wrote my Halloween collection, I knew I had to follow it up with a Christmas collection.
Nice. That was actually my next question. Did you have any pre-existing stories that made their way into this, or did you just make them all like this year?
The pre-existing ones were the one you picked, and there's a ghost story in there. I don't know if you've gotten to that one yet. And the rest were new for this year.
Okay, nice. Okay, so how long did you spend writing these new ones?
A couple weeks. My Halloween book had 33 stories in it. And if not for quarantine, there's no way I would have been able to come up with 33 stories that I thought were good enough. Because I actually wrote more than 33 to create my Halloween collection. And some of those are a few years older from previous, stories I'd written and submitted elsewhere. For Christmas, I kind of landed on 12 as the magic number, 12 days of Christmas or 12 nights of Christmas.
Nice.
I briefly thought about trying to get 25 in there to do like an advent calendar, but I didn't think the quality would be up there. And my lead time between the Halloween book and the Christmas book was so short because I wanted to get it out there and in reviewers' hands before November.
Okay. So yeah, 25 is ambitious, but 12 in 2 weeks, that's fucking ambitious as well.
I mean, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was longer than that. Sometimes it takes me more than 2 weeks to write a story. Sometimes much longer. So you know, it's weird. I was kind of struggling with what is Christmas horror. Halloween is, maybe just because I've been so immersed in it for so long, it's very easy to draw a circle around what is or is not a Halloween horror story. Whereas with Christmas horror, I think it's a little more broad. It doesn't have to take place on Christmas or have a guy in a Santa suit. I think anything that has to do with winter is fair game. I think anything that harkens back to the sort of Dickensian Victorian horror stories, like A Christmas Carol, are fair game. And then if you look at other countries and other cultures that have these really deep mythologies around wintertime and how they confront the fear of getting through that long, dark time where sometimes the sun doesn't come up for months at a time, and you're basically counting, your individual grains and kernels to see, like, did we harvest enough to make it to the spring? Their mythology is fantastic. So there is a nod to a Japanese ghost story in the book. I don't know if people are going to pick up on that, but just to say that, wintertime horror is pretty much a global phenomenon. And I thought it was easier to collect stories that would fit in a winter collection.
Right. Okay. This is like Randy's Rules of Horror, how to survive a horror film, but it's Jeff's rules of a Christmas horror story.
Exactly. If there is a crippled beggar boy with fingerless gloves, you're good.
It counts. Put it in.
Yeah. If anyone is asking for gruel.
Gruel is automatically. I don't care if it's the middle of July. If you're asking for gruel, you're a Christmas story.
Yeah. And it's horror.
And it's horror, yes. No, I agree with your rules of Christmas horror. So
Thank you.
There's no spoilers because we just got done reading Candy Cane. So do you want to talk to us a bit about your inspiration for that one?
Sure. I have a friend who goes out of his way to make sure that his kids have Christmas magic for as long as possible. And he may have done too good a job with his oldest daughter. And as a result, she ended up believing in Santa, as a teenager. And he was just so fearful of how other girls were going to treat her, when she went to school espousing these beliefs. And that inspired me to, try to find a hook for, how would this girl interact with her peers? And more importantly, how could she be the perfect bait for Krampus to find naughty kids?
I love it. She's like the detector, the naughty detector.
Right. Yeah. He just shoves her out there as bait, and then mean girls come a running, and it's too easy.
I loved it. It's kind of like To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
And she's
Exactly.
the bait. Nice.
Yeah.
And I love at the end when she just like whispers under her breath, like naughty, without looking up, like, yeah, go get those bitches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's justified. I feel like we've all been there, surrounded by mean girls in Ugg boots, getting teased.
So it's got to be the Ugg boots and the leggings gang.
Yeah.
As I stand up to show off my Uggs and my leggings.
Look, no shame, but naughty.
As you just see something come off screen, you come and just like devour me. Yeah. I do have to say, I am in my 30s and I still get visits from Santa Claus.
Fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm a believer. I was a believer then. I'm a believer now. Firm believer, always.
I will never not say that Santa isn't real or is real. Wait, that's a triple negative. Hold on. I'll never say that Santa isn't real.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, you don't ever say that.
Yeah, right. I am a believer.
I'm
How
a
about that?
believer. There we go. Okay. Yes.
Yes, I believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah, watch out for that fireplace behind you. You better watch your
Yeah, I
words
know.
carefully, sir.
You know, it really is an extension of my Halloween book, We Bleed Black and Orange. You might remember that, it was my way of kind of coping with the fact that Halloween was probably going to be canceled this year, or was not going to look like anything, we recognized as Halloween. So it's my way to just kind of help people capture some of that Halloween spirit, even if there wasn't a lot to go around. And, I live on the West Coast, but I was raised on the East Coast. So I only see my family every other year, every 2 years, sometimes every 3 years. So not being able to go home for the holidays is tough. And I wanted to write something that would, create a little Christmas spirit, even if it's a darker Christmas spirit.
I appreciate that. And it does kind of feel like that. One of the, I guess, silver linings about all of this shittiness of 2020 is this kind of feeling of togetherness, like people like you that are creating something as a kind of like a personal coping mechanism. I'm sure it's kind of a catharsis doing these things, but then you get to share it with other people and it feels like not so isolated and alone, which I super appreciate.
Absolutely. Both books were really cathartic, and now that the book is out there and people are starting to review it and give feedback, it does feel good. There's some, I kind of deliberately went for the heartstrings with some of these stories. So I think I'm, giving people the feels.
I did tear up for one of the stories.
Which one?
I don't remember the word. It's I don't want to spoil it, but it's with when Santa goes to visit the old woman, and yeah.
Yes.
What's the name of that one?
He spoke not a word.
He spoke not a word. Okay, I was thinking it was that, and then I thought maybe I was mixing that one up with the soundless chamber one. So
Gotcha.
The title could work for either one. So
that's right. I was gonna go. I was speaking of process. I love Christmas carols, like love them. My family is insane about Christmas carols, and it drives my wife nuts because she can actually hold a tune, and we just sound like cats in a bathtub. I mean, we're not a talented bunch of singers, but we won't let it stop us.
The heart is there.
Carols. The heart is there. Lungs, vocal cords, not so much. But I love Christmas carols, and it's. I feel like if you're gonna pull something out to be a refrain or a reference or a title of a story, you want something that's really resonant. And man, Christmas carols check all those boxes for me. I was tempted to go through the whole collection and name every story, after some lyric or line from a Christmas story, but I use some restraint.
Yeah, a little bit. Practice a little bit of restraint there. Yeah. That one, you know what? Speaking of the sound chamber one, it kind of a little bit reminded me of what's the Twilight Zone episode, Time Enough at Last?
Yes.
It gave me a little bit of that kind of vibe.
Absolutely. So my story, Blessed Silence, is about a misanthropic guy who takes advantage of the winter break to go into work where he works as an audio engineer and go into one of these anechoic chambers. It's like the most soundproofing place you can imagine. It's where they go and they test high-tech equipment and instruments and microphones and speakers and things like that. And he just wants to seal himself off from the world and finally get some quiet. And I had that idea a while back, and I wasn't sure quite what the sort of the hook was. Like, yes, guy wants quiet, guy goes into silent chamber. But you can see the same kind of thread running through Time Enough at Last, where it's someone who, it's not that the guy wants to be alone to read, it's that he hates people. He hates humanity. And that's why it's so, one of the many ironies in that Twilight Zone episode is, the same in the story is, this guy thinks he wants quiet, but in reality, he has to admit to himself that he just hates other people with such a passion. And that was the hook for me.
Yeah. And then it's kind of that monkey's paw thing where it's like, okay, well, be careful what you ask for. Be very, very specific with your wishes.
Right. If you want true silence, be ready for what it's like.
You better draw up a contract exactly as to what that entails, because be careful. Mm-hmm. Also, nothing about that sounded relaxing to me. Like, as I'm reading about him going deeper and deeper into this, like, layers and layers of more and more silence, I'm like, this sounds fucking awful. And then I was like wondering to myself, like, could I actually like go in there and spend 5 minutes? Like, I have no desire whatsoever to experience that.
In my research, there are sort of reports that some people can't stay in these sort of cones of silence for too long. It freaks them out, or it makes them nauseous or uncomfortable. And there hasn't been like any hard evidence on this, but like musicians and stuff do not like it. Like, if there's not a certain bubble of warmth, even like just echoes off surfaces and the sound of your own voice or your breath, having that all kind of sucked out, it is kind of like being dead. Yeah, it's sort of a creepy thought, and I think I'd like to try it, but I don't know how long I'd last on there.
When I like would want to try it for maybe all of 30 seconds, maybe not even that, just to be like, yeah, no, I can't hear anything at all. Okay, let me out. Like, I like my bubble of warmth.
Yeah. Good luck finding the door.
Yeah, fuck. And I would have to do it with the door open, so it wouldn't even count really. But
that's right, it wouldn't work.
I don't even need to hear like the sound of my own voice or anything, but just like an unnatural like void where it's literally just nothingness. Like, that's too spookily unnatural, and I don't think I need any of that.
It's literally unnatural, because there's no place on earth, that is so quiet and that absorbs sound, like that, which is why they've had to engineer these special facilities. And it is interesting that if you had the right, like, electronic key cards, there are doors you could open in the world that would take you to places that are totally unnatural. Like, where they freeze stuff, to colder, like colder than, Antarctic temperatures. And, they do all these weird stuff to bend science. Or they make, like, smells that have never been smelled before. And that gives me hope as a horror writer.
Smells that have never been smelled before. Please make a story about that in your next Halloween anthology.
Done. Some kind of new candy corn.
Yes. Not Thanksgiving candy corn, though, please. I've had enough of those.
All right. We'll come up with something new to torture you.
Okay, good. Did you try those? They're freaking horrendous.
My wife is very specific about the candy corn we get, about the brand and the type.
Yes. As one should be.
Yes. Well, I'm a little easygoing. If it's got the 3 colors, I'm good.
Okay.
I love candy corn, but yeah, I think I'd get in trouble if I brought in the turkey and the stuffing and the peas.
Your wife just like throws it into the fire.
Yeah.
So you're a candy corn whore, and she's a bit of a candy corn purist. Okay.
Exactly.
I think I would side more with your wife on this one, but I did try to be a little more adventurous this year, and I didn't need to do it,
I heard it's good. It's I think it's up to us to share that experience with people who might not have access to those special edition things. My friends and I were on Zoom, and we did a zombie Skittle roulette. So I sent a bag of the zombie flavored Skittles to all my friends.
I have not heard of these.
Oh man. So it's a silver bag. They're called zombie flavored Skittles, and they're just regular Skittles, but certain random Skittles have the zombie flavor.
Ugh.
And so we played zombie roulette, and we just went around the squares on the Zoom call, and we'd each take one, and you can't fake it. When someone bites into one of those zombie Skittles, like you see the virus like break out into their face. Skittles did not come to mess around. Like they brought it with their zombie Skittles flavor. It was really, really hellish. And now I feel like you gotta eat them.
I'm like intrigued, but also terrified, which I guess is how I ended up putting that stuff in my face in the first place. But
I mean, none of us described it in the same way. If I had to guess, it was like a tomato, garlic, Sour Patch. I mean, it was just so rancid. And I love the fact that they sold and marketed these to people as candy.
And people were eating them.
I mean, I can think of at least, 6 people that ate them.
Oh, man. Okay, I need to track those down because I'm kind of curious about it. Not what I would have pictured, tomato, rancid, Sour Patch combo, but...
I mean, that's just when my tongue died, that's what it was screaming. My friends had different results.
Maybe it's just like whatever your version, whatever's going to kill your tongue, like personally, like that's the flavor that you experience.
The special receptors. Yeah, I like that. It finds your greatest fear.
Yeah. It's the Pennywise of candy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a terrifying one. There's another story for you.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for these questions?
No, but hit me.
Here they come anyway. All right. I was asking as a courtesy, but they're on their way. Okay.
Okay.
Who is your favorite final girl?
So I know that Ripley is the classic answer. Mm-hmm. And up until like a month ago, that probably would have been my favorite final girl. Have you seen the movie Phenomenon?
No.
It's a crazy 80s Dario Argento film.
Oh, with Jennifer Connelly.
With Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I've seen pieces of it. I don't know if I've seen it all the way through yet.
This was like a VHS box that I would see in video stores. My whole life, I would walk past it, and I'm like, what is going on with this movie? There's this girl, and her face is half gone, and there's like swarms of bugs, and there's a killer. And I always wanted to see it, and I finally got my chance. I finally saw it like a month ago. And in this movie, the final girl is young Jennifer Connelly, and she is a girl with the psychic ability to control insects. She has a sidekick that is a knife-wielding monkey.
Okay.
and no matter how many people get brutally killed in front of her, she just shakes it off.
Okay.
Like, she is unflappable. Nothing phases her. And I feel like if I was a final girl in any of these other movies, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or F-13 or whatever, even if I survived, I would be so traumatized. Mm-hmm. But this girl, like I said, psychic ability to control bugs, knife-wielding monkey sidekick, unflappable. So that is my choice.
That's a good answer. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know why that movie doesn't get more love. Like, I don't know why I haven't seen it multiple times. I love Argento. I love Jennifer Connelly. I love monkeys.
It's got a great soundtrack by Goblin. I think there's like some Motley Crue songs in there. It's just wild. David Pleasance is in there as like a weird bug doctor. And like all the stuff I'm telling you doesn't even spoil how crazy it gets.
Okay.
The problem is it's a slow start. It's a slow build up, and then it just goes into utter madness, but highly recommend.
Okay, well, thank you. Maybe that's why I've never watched it all the way through. Like maybe I've attempted to start it and then just never went back to it. That's going high. I'm moving that to the top of my watch list, though.
Nice.
You sold me
my
on
friends were shit. My friends were shit talking it the whole time, and then when the shit jumped off, I was like, "You guys just suck it," because this is the greatest movie I've ever seen.
All right, you know what? Maybe I'm going to watch that today.
Hell yeah!
I'm like super sold. All
Nice.
right, phenomenon. Okay, what's your most traumatic horror experience?
So when I was too young, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time.
Okay.
And I'm the youngest of four, and so my older brothers and sisters were always watching stuff that was, maybe edgy or inappropriate for them and wildly inappropriate for me.
Okay.
So my parents were out. My brother was in charge. He was the oldest. And so we turned off all the lights and we popped in a tape of Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm single digits. I'm definitely under 10.
Oh, God.
And I'm just like having my mind blown by Nightmare on Elm Street. And all of a sudden, there is this squeaky, scratchy, streaking at the window. And it's night, it's dark out, all the lights are off, and the glass door that this sound is coming from is not like a porch or a patio. It's basically, it's like one of those porches that has the railing across it. So like if you open the door, you would just walk into that railing. Mm. Like you can't even really stand on it. Like you don't put a chair on it. It just faces the woods.
Okay.
So
the woods.
there is, there is no reason why anyone or anything should be basically clinging to the side of our house, scratching at the window. And my older brother looks to me and he says, because the curtains are drawn over this sliding glass door, and he says, well, go check what it is. And I'm, in my mind, it's Freddy Krueger. And I'm terrified, but I'm also the youngest, and he's in charge, and I have to do what he says. So I walk across the dark floor. It was scary enough. Like, when you're watching Nightmare on Elm Street and you're in that headspace, being in, like, a deep couch is scary because Freddy's going to drag you into the couch. Right. Walking across the ground is scary because Freddy's going to come up out of the ground and grab you. Like, I was losing my mind. But I tiptoe, trembling, to the curtain, and I pull it back, and it's my brother's girlfriend. Oh. And the origin of this is that she got off from work, drove over to our place, parked in the driveway, saw, like, the TV flickering, and figured we were home and watching a movie, so she climbed up and over the railing and was trying to get our attention at the glass door. She didn't know we were watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh. My brother didn't put her up to this. My brother didn't even know what was at the window. He just sent me there. Yeah. But I was so freaked out by Nightmare on Elm Street that for years, when I would turn the lights off to go to bed, I was afraid to walk across the carpet because I didn't want my feet by the bottom, underneath the bed. Uh-huh. I didn't want my feet in the carpet. So I had timed it so that I could turn off the light switch and do a standing jump into bed every night. And I think that's why my bed was so badly broken.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's so many things to unpack here. One, what a strange girl. Like that. Like, knock at the door. What are you?
We had a doorbell. We had a door to knock, but from the driveway, it was like 3 or 4 steps to like climb over this railing.
Okay.
And I think to my mind, the sound of her like rubbing on the window sounded exactly like Freddy's claws,
Yes.
but in reality, it probably didn't sound too much like it.
I mean, I feel like I would, if I chose to go to that window, I'd probably do a little like a rap on the window, not like a, like I don't think I would be rubbing or caressing or scratching nails or anything that could possibly be mistaken for Freddy Krueger across the window.
Well, hey, that's my sister-in-law you're talking about. He married that girl.
They got married. That's amazing.
They got married, yeah.
Well,
it all ended okay.
I need her to give me a call because I have so many questions.
Yeah. They turned out happily ever after, and I turned into a horror author.
There you go. So you have her to thank for a lot of it. Your brother and her as a combined duo.
I have them to thank for a lot of trauma. You're right.
Sure. I also love the flying leap to the bed because we probably all at some point, I was really good at the hit the light switch and then my bed wasn't close enough to just do a standing jump. So I had to do like a run and then a leap onto the bed. Yeah.
Nice.
Just as long as my feet and my ankles didn't get too close to like underneath the bed. So I'd take a couple steps and just flying squirrel it like onto the top of the bed.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't knock our teeth out like on our bed frames. I had this like weird, funky pile shag carpet, and I was just convinced I was going to sink into it, like Nancy sinks into the carpeted stairs when she's trying to run up.
Your house was perfectly set up for a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street horrors. I feel like
it really was. It really was.
That's a good one. I like that. Okay, what's your favorite horror franchise?
Well, it goes without saying Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror franchise.
Okay. I was like, how disappointing if that turns out to not be his answer. Okay.
I actually got a poster of Freddy Krueger, and I think I got it from Fangoria magazine. And it was of Freddy holding up a grody skull, like he's doing a Shakespeare soliloquy.
Yeah. Nice.
And I had that on my wall for the longest time. And I don't know what my parents thought about this, but I really do think that stuff that traumatizes you early on becomes like a source of fascination later on. Mm-hmm. And, I think you've probably encountered this same thing, which is people that get too much horror at a young age, it kind of shuts them down and freaks them out for a while, and then eventually their brain tries to process it by turning it into fascination or obsession. Mm-hmm. And that's how I went from jumping across my bedroom for years to going to sleep looking at a poster of Freddy Krueger on my wall.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatable. Entirely relatable. Yeah. You get the shit scared out of you, and then for some reason at some point in your life, like you look at your house and it's just horse shit everywhere. Yeah. Not horse shit. Horror shit is
Can it be both?
Hey, maybe, to each their own. I'm not here to judge. Okay, you're the final girl in a horror film. What's your kill song?
I struggled. Okay. I struggled with this question. I know you ask it to everyone, and maybe it's my film snobbery coming through. Maybe it's control issues. But, I feel like the monster and the genre kind of determine the song.
Mm-hmm, that's fair.
And maybe it's just I have too eclectic a taste in music. Mm-hmm. But, if I'm killing zombies, I feel like it's going to be, White Zombie or something.
Okay.
If I'm fighting vampires, I could go for some dubstep, DMX, Turn Down for What? It's, I feel like one song doesn't fit all occasions, right?
Okay.
So I need you to kind of develop a scenario for me. Like, what am I fighting? What weapons do I have? What's the tempo of the action?
Let's go. We'll keep it very simple. You're trapped in a house. There's a slasher that's after you. You grab the first thing that you find, and it's a poker for the fireplace. That's your weapon.
Then I would probably go with something off the original Conan the Barbarian soundtrack.
As
because
one
the
does.
slasher's going to have a knife or a machete or something like that. And it's going to be steel on steel.
Okay.
A lot of pounding timpani drums and big war horns. Brr, brr.
Okay. I really like that you took into account the metal on metal sounds and what is going to best accompany
Right.
that.
I mean, it's a movie, right?
It is a movie.
We want
You
it
got
to
to
be
think about
filmic.
these things. Yes. You want that cinematic
And then,
to fit.
as the cymbals crash, my sidekick, the monkey with the knife, comes out, jumps on its back.
Perfect. I love this. I feel like it's going to be beautiful. Can't wait to watch that.
It's epic and cinematic.
Yes. As you just fly through the air towards each other, and then the monkey comes in between. Yeah.
Yeah, I use my bed jumping skills, and I jump off screen into a bed, and then the monkey comes up and gets him.
That's the gun that you referenced in the beginning of the movie. Like, he has this
Yes.
skill to leap very far. Now it's coming into play.
That's right.
Following those rules. Okay, last question. Kind of already touched on this, but why horror?
My imagination is out of control, and it always has been. And so fantasy and sci-fi are great playgrounds for the imagination. But I feel like the biggest possible playground for the imagination is horror, because you can break the rules of storytelling. You don't have to have a happy ending. You don't necessarily need a motivation for your killer, because you're dealing with things like the fear of death itself, or guilt and grief, and all these great things that make horror matter in a way that you don't always get in fantasy and science fiction. And, you know, when you talk about monsters, monsters are things that are unnatural. You know, there's something that breaks the natural order. And I think monsters and imagination are inextricable. So if you have an imagination and you really want to set it wild, you know, get into some horror. Think about what scares you. And I mean, human history in so much of our culture is just basically us thinking about what's out there in the dark, or what's behind us, and what we can't see. And that's where all this great horror and mythology and culture comes from. I love it.
Love it.
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome. Okay, that's all I've got for you. Tell us where we can go and get our copy of We Bleed Red and Green.
Head on over to Amazon. It's We Bleed Red and Green, 12 Chilling Tales for Christmas. And you can also go to jeffccarter.com and find links for my socials and some articles about the Krampus and all that other fun stuff there.
Yay, awesome. All right, thank you so much. This was super fun. And I'm really, like, guys,
Thank
this
you.
book is really, really fucking fun and awesome. And get it and read one for the 12 Days of Christmas. A new horror story for every 12 Days of Christmas day.
Exactly.
12 Days of Christmas Day. What do we call them? The 12 Days of Christmas.
If you want to get into the Christian calendar, like there's all sorts of interesting ways to chop up December and January. Mm-hmm. There's the 12 days leading up to Christmas. There are religious holidays throughout Christmas. Some of them don't even really end or wrap up until like 2 weeks into the new year. The Yuletide season typically covers everything from like November to January. So depending on what your frame of reference is, it's not just like, oh, there's Christmas Eve and then there's Christmas. You know, sometimes there's 24 days or 25 days or like 50 days. You know, all part of the reason why, you know, so much can fit into this winter Yuletime horror. And you did a great show about the equinox.
Oh, thank you.
And you kind of drilled down on that. And, you know, nowadays we think, okay, the veil thins on Halloween, and then like midnight Halloween, the veil slams shut. But ancient people thought the veil was pretty much thin until the spring equinox.
These are our dark days. This is our dark season. Yes.
Indeed. And that's when the spirits come back, and anything that you can say or do can haunt you. And it's such a cool time of year, and I'm so psyched that like horror people are kind of bringing this material out. I feel like with the Christmas creep, you know, as Christmas pushes deeper and deeper into October is like, I feel like Christmas kind of reached into October, and then Halloween grabbed it and was like, come here. And it's like, all right, here's Tim Burton. Here's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Here's Krampus. You know, here's, Silent Night, Deadly Night. And just like, I think it's going to be really good. In the years to come, we're just going to get so much great Christmas horror.
Yes, I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. Like, as you said, we have that kind of like the Halloween hangover and that like depression of like, oh God, it's gone. So the more we can like kind of like keep it going and get some more Christmas horror, like I'm so here for it.
Yeah, we're going to keep it spooky.
Keep it spooky. And on that note, thank you so much. I'm excited for everyone to check out the book. I'm excited for them to hear Candy Cane, which they've already heard at the beginning of this. So happy holidays to you. Keep writing. I'm excited to read some more of your stuff. I'm really actually like a big fan of your stuff. It's quite beautiful and spooky.
Thanks, Angel. Same.
Oh, thank you. All right. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Huge thank you once again to Jeff for joining us today and for sharing his holiday horror with us. Truly think you guys are going to enjoy the shit out of We Bleed Red and Green. If you enjoyed Candy Cane, that is just the smallest, tiniest little teaser of what awaits you in this book. There's holiday horrors, there's dark comedy, there's murder, mayhem, and a little bit of tears. So be sure to head over to Amazon to check out We Bleed Red and Black, 12 creepy Christmas tales to fill your 12 days of Christmas and beyond. Alright, that's all I've got. As always, thank you so much for listening, watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts have been really awesome to read through and are super helpful. So please, if you're enjoying yourself, take a moment to rate and review. It means the world to me. So thank you all for taking the time to do that. I hope you're all enjoying your holiday season so far. I love you. And I'll catch you next week for some more spooky shit. Alright, I hope you all Alright, that's all I've got. As always, thank you much. Come on.